Hey friends, it's me Stace. For today's video we are making a Valentine's Day diagonal Z-fold card. This is the card laying flat. Then when you open up you have that piece here. You can see the angle, you can also see the Z-fold. Alright, so to make the card you will need a piece of cardstock that measures 8.5 by 5.5. Bring in your trimmer. We're going to do some scoring. So we're first going to score this right in half at 4 1/4. So lining it up there at the 4 1/4 inch mark and then score. Then you're going to scooch it down and score it at 2 1/8. Now if you're using the Cricut trimmer, it is the second line in past the 2. So get that in there, lining it up at 2 1/8. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. So we're going to fold the card directly in half on that 4 1/4 inch score mark. And then we have the score mark on the front. Fold that one toward you. Okay, and then we have the Z-fold card. Now, to figure out the angle, you want to close the card so our scored part is over here. From the very bottom corner, you want to measure up 2 inches. My ruler does have this 1/4 inch gap, so I'm actually going to go to 1 3/4, but you're going to score it or mark it at 2 inches. Let me find that mark there, lining up my ruler, and just put like a little tick mark there with your pencil. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Then we're going to bring in our trimmer again. And now we're going to open the card all the way up and we're going to cut from this tick mark up to 2 inches, that little tick mark there, and the top of the 4 1/4 inch mark. So I'm going to line up my tick mark with the cut line where my trimmer is going to cut. Line that up and just hold it down. And then twist this to where the top of my 4 1/4 inch score mark lines up with that cut line as well. Just like that. I'm going to hold that in place and then just cut it off. Okay, so that's our Z-fold card with the angle cut out. Now, to figure out your paper sizes for this piece as well as this piece, you see on my card here, I have paper here and I have the paper here. To do that, I'm going to set this aside. You're going to bring in a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 white cardstock and 4 by 5 1/4 of a pattern paper. And you're going to mark both of those at 1 3/4 inches up. So, and I'm going to do on this side. It doesn't really matter what side you do it on. Alright, so 1 3/4 up. And then put a little tick mark there. Okay. Now I want this is double-sided paper. I want this to be the front of my paper, so I need to mirror this image or flip it over to the wrong side. I'm going to mark this again at 1 3/4. Oh, I'm sorry, down there. Yeah, 1 3/4. Make sure I did that one right. I did. Okay. So I did that one right. Okay, so now the same idea. We're going to bring in our trimmer. We're first going to work with the white. So that tick mark to that corner. Okay. So I'm going to line up the little tick mark first. Line up my corner. So I marked on the lower left hand side, and I'm going to line it up with the top right corner. All right. So put that there. Lining it up. And we're going to cut. Okay, this is the part we want. We can discard that. Now the same with our paper. Lining up that tick mark there with the top right hand corner. And I'm on the wrong side. Alright, we're going to lay this down and cut. Okay, so now we have these two pieces. Now I want this, you can see I want this to be shorter. So we're going to cut this one down to be 1 7/8. We're actually going to cut 1 7/8 off both pieces, but on the short side, because it's a white, we want it to be on this part. We're going to cut from this point over 1 7/8. So I'm going to flip it over and cut 1 7/8, and the 1 7/8 inch mark on your Cricut trimmer is this 2 lines before the number 2. Okay, so line that up at 1 7/8, and cut that off. Take this, and that's going to fit there. Okay. Now we have our paper. I want to cut from, this is going to go on this side, so I'm going to cut from the long side. Again, I'm on the wrong side. Mark it at 1 7/8. Okay, and I'll take this, and that's going to fit in here. Okay? Alright, so now we have all that out of the way. Let's go ahead and adhere this little piece down. And I'm just using my advanced tape glider to do that. Okay, I'm going to line that in there in between all the score marks. Okay, so we have that piece there. Alright, so now we need another piece of white for the inside of our card, 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to lay that there. So now for our stamping, I'm going to take this piece, because this is the front of my piece here, okay? I'm using 2 stamp sets. They're both from Life's Craft. I will see if I can find them. I'll link them below. The first one is Boy and Girl Doodle Love. How cute is that one? The second one is Best Wishes Sentences. Okay, so what I want to do, you can see on our stamps, the little stick figures, I want this one here to where they're not together, and I want the one here of them kissing. So what I did with this, because all these little hearts are attached to the image, I just went in and I cut the hearts out. Alright, so I'm going to grab the ones where they're not together, which is right here. I'm going to grab my VersaFine black ink and just ink that up. And we're going to put that right here. Okay, so they're not together on the front of the card. Then the inside of the card, I'm going to stamp the one to where they are together. I'm going to ink that up. Okay, and I'm going to stamp that in the lower left-hand corner so you can't see it when the card is closed. Okay, now we have the greeting. For the greeting, I'm using the Best Wishes Sentences stamp set that says, "It's always better when we're together." And I have that on my block, and I'm using a red ink. Alright, so I'm going to ink this up. I'm actually going to stamp off first to make sure my ink is my stamp's nicely covered. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and stamp it on the lower right-hand corner, hopefully straight. Okay, there we go. I'm going to close this, otherwise I'll dip my finger in it. All right, now we can just assemble our card. So super simple little card. We're going to take this piece, I'll put that on the inside. Of our card here. I could have probably stamped that a little bit better, but that's okay. All right, so that's on the inside. Now we have our little piece for the outside. I'm actually going to pop that up, and before I pop it up though, I'm going to grab my hearts from that same stamp set. All right, so I have 3 little hearts here that you can see go with this one here. I'm going to go ahead and grab that red ink again to stamp my hearts. Oops. Okay, there we go. And again, I want to stamp off first just to make sure they're nicely inked up. Okay, we're going to stamp this one right above them. Right there, super cute. Then I have the other hearts, the 3 little hearts on this one. We're going to ink that one up. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to stamp on this one just to make sure my ink is covered. And that's going to go right above these ones. I need to bring it over me so I can get it right above their heads in between the 2 of them. Okay. Then we have the grouping of hearts. And again, all these hearts I just cut off or cut out of that stamp set. That way I can do the hearts whatever color I want to. I'm going to put this one in the upper right-hand corner, kind of on an angle a little bit. Okay? Super cute, right? All right, now we're going to close this. And like I said, I am going to pop this piece up, so I'm going to grab my foam squares. And I'm going to put 2 on the bottom of these large ones. Then I'm going to grab my smaller ones to get up to the very top, that point up there. Okay. I give them a squish, take the backing off of them. Alright, and just take that and put on the front of the card. Now if you want to, another option for this style of a card, you could seal this shut. You can leave this shut so it doesn't show. That's another option. So it'd just be like this. Right? But I like that when you look at the card, it says it's always better when we're together, and they're not together here, and then when you open up, they're all smooching together. Right? Super cute. All right, my friends, that is the card today. I do have a card kit. Let me find that. I have a card kit somewhere for you. My desk is so messy. If I just oh, there it is. Okay. The card kit. So your cardstock is already cut to that shape, and as well as the paper. Okay? Alright, so to win the card kit, go to my website. I will have a direct link below for the blog post. You just leave me a comment. The first one that comments will win the card kit. Alright, and my friends, any questions at all, please let me know. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.